Good evening and welcome to another exciting show. Now, please excuse me this evening. It's been really hot today and it's 95 degrees in this room where I am because I have a south-facing window, so the sun has been shining in here all day. And no, I haven't got air conditioning. I'm in England and we don't have air conditioning. Well, we do in shops. We do in some houses, but not in my house. So excuse me if I start wilting tonight. I would Can you hear that? There seems to be even more people clapping now. Good God. I thought I won't mention it tonight, but hang on. There's a few more people clapping. Just one moment, please. What's wrong with people? I'm sorry I'd say this. You get fed up with me saying this every week, but it's contagious. There used to be just one lot of people doing it. There's about half a dozen of them doing it. So I think I've got to clap. Is it that they're bored and they want something to do? I just don't get. But they're still clapping. Can you hear? Because they've got the windows open, so you can probably hear them. Oh my God! Hard, I got the clap. Yeah. Hang on a minute. Oh, they've got clapping. The horns are blowing here. Oh, blimey, a couple of people on the horn, eh? That sounds interesting. We've got cars tooting now. There is something mentally wrong with this country. Well, something mentally wrong with the world, I think. What's the matter with people following like sheep? But, you know, having this window open, I've got to have it open. I think I'll collapse otherwise. It's so hot. But what I like is this new job description they've got. What's this, Stewie? Horns is not British. Well, probably feeling a bit horny, who knows? I mean, in the most politest way, of course. I mean, there's a new job description now. Door marshals. I used to think a marshal was a bloke who had a Stetson hat who sort of walked around in Western films. And whilst I'm talking about Western films, do you know the difference between a prostitute and John Wayne? John Wayne had a large prairie hat. Yes. Anyway, I won't go any further. My sis, some friend last. Please join it as well. Yeah. Well, I got my window open. I mean, I live in a pretty rural area, and I don't think they will be able to hear me. But perhaps I should raise my voice so they can hear me taking the piss out of them. Quite honestly, and I think they deserve the piss taken out of them. I don't know what's wrong with them. Anyway. Last week, there was a competition. Hang on a moment. Get your banners. And it was this, you see. It was regarding currency. It was, because we've got the answer to it now. Who was the odd one out? Abraham Lincoln, Lloyd George, Adolf Hitler, Winston Churchill. And, of course, the answer was the odd one out was Winston Churchill, because the other three tried to stop usury. And Winston Churchill carried it on and kindly left future generations in continuous debt. Isn't that nice of him? Yes, I can say a few more things about that bloke. Well, anyway, someone came up with, I can't remember, was it Ralph or Stewie? I don't know, but several of you came up with the idea that Mr. H was the only person that didn't have his face on currency. Well, I've looked this up, and unless you know differently, neither did Lloyd George. I think Abraham Lincoln has, and of course, Scummy, you know, old Winston Churchill, I think he's on the back of a fiver. But Mr. H and Lloyd George knew. So I just thought I'd clear that one up. Right, now, this week's interesting competition. And remember, the winner gets a free dirty joke said along with everybody else after at the end of the program. And I got a bit of a cracker of a joke this week. It's filthy, it really is. So if you've got any children present, send them out the room before the end of the program. And if you've got any pets, I would put them outside as well. They might howl. But anyway, this is a good one. I wonder how long it'll take before people will get this one. Okay, there's certain things I cannot say with the answer of this one, but I think you know what I mean. Who is the odd one out? Benjamin Disraeli, Boris Johnson, David Cameron, Jack Straw. So about Lloyd George, I know I'm not a fan of his exactly, but or Lloyd George. So which one is the odd one out? Benjamin Disraeli, Boris Johnson, David Cameron, Jack Straw, Lloyd George. So let's look in the comment section, see if anybody. You're generally pretty quick on this one. So let's have a look, see if we got this. Church had a little hat. Did it? Cat. Oh yes, sorry, I get that. Yes. Sorry, it's like the difference between a baby and a seagull. A seagull flits around the shore. Hello, wattle and daub. Yes, and the other one is, do you know the difference between a Hoover vacuum cleaner and a Swiss admiral or naval captain? Yes, the Hoover vacuum cleaner sucks and never fails. Now we've got some people. We're getting the answer to. Where is it? I forgot where it is. Here it is. So this was the question: who is the odd one out? Disraeli, Johnson, Cameron, Straw, or Lloyd George? Okie dokie. So let's see if anybody's got it yet. Maybe. Emma Lone has said Jack Straw. Possibly. Lloyd George, because he didn't have a word I mustn't mention, or you can't mention, certain ancestry. Maybe. And what the fireworks going off out here. Blimey. I think the only fireworks around here is when people have some baked beans. But I mean, it was just a couple of people. Now it's loads of people joining in. What's wrong with people? It's just, I just don't know. Anyway, on with the show. And oh, hang on, we got Jack Straw back again. Where is he? Oh, here we are. It's Ralph says Jack Straw. Maybe. I keep you guessing. So I'll stick this back up here. Where are we? Here we go. So I'll keep you guessing still. The odd one out competition. Right, now what we're going to speak about today. Still got bad hay fever, by the way. Sorry about this. So if I keep glugging and all the time, it's because there's the pollen's low apparently. I've still got it. Actually, I call this current. I call it a psyops because that's basically what it is. Nothing more, nothing less, actually. So, hang on, I've got my bullet points here. Now, I've decided to do a little survey this week, and I switched on. Now, please forgive me, for I have sinned. I switched on the radio and tuned into BBC local radio. I know, I don't know what it is. Something came over me. Perhaps it was, I don't know, weather or something. The hot weather, hot flashes, cold flashes. I just don't know. Anyway, I decided to see how they're working, and I believe this is a psyops. I really do believe this. And I tuned in exactly 8 o'clock and listened through. And I was going to sit and listen to it for an hour, but I just couldn't handle it. And all I could handle was 10 minutes of it. And in that 10 minutes, they mentioned the word social distance, or 2 words, social distancing, 15 Sorry, not 15. I wrote it down here 9 times. So the word social distancing was mentioned almost every minute, 9 times out of 10. And it's very subtle as well. You know, people are going on to Southend Beach because they're not observing social distancing. Police are there to remind people of social distancing. What are you doing during this social distancing? How are you keeping it? And it went on and on and on. And that goes on to the subconscious. Now, something I've noticed this week, by the way, as I say, 10 minutes late, right? I just had to switch it off. It was getting to me because that was going around in my brain, social distancing. It was beginning to affect me. So just imagine what it must be like for brain deads. But I've noticed some other strange thing that's happening, and that is 3 people this week have said to me, and they don't know each other. Well, they do. 1 or 2 of them do, but the other one doesn't. This what's happening now, this lockdown, is proving that we've overpolluted the planet. And look how clear the sky is and how clean the air is. And all 3 of those people read Rupert Murdoch's comics, ranging from The Sun through to The Times. So what's Murdoch been pumping out? Because people act as duplicators. They will read something and then give you that sort of information. They duplicate it to you. They don't think it through. And as Sandy said, you know, Sandy, who knows Mark Windows, she said, all part of the green agenda. And it is. This lockdown or cockdown is all part of this green agenda and United Nations 2030, as I'm sure you all are very well know about this. Anyway, let's look in comments, see if anybody's got any answers yet to this odd one out. Who is the odd one out? Benjamin Disraeli, Boris Johnson, David Cameron, Jack Straw, Lloyd George. So let's see if anybody's got it yet, shall we? Whoa, here we go. We got Ralph reckons it's Jack Straw. Could be. Now what we got here? Have a few links for you to look at, Chris. We'll leave them in the comment section. Thanks, Spread Lies. Others know the truth. Who is who? Very good. Much appreciated. And Emma, local raw honey is good for hay fever. Oh, thanks, Emma. Yeah, I do take honey, but it's something I've had for years, actually, because you know, I've just learned to live with it. I've taken everything, antihistamines years ago. You sort of, but I will try as well. Try local raw honey, because I bought sort of off the stall sort of honey. But yes, I will give that a try. Thanks, Emma. It's much appreciated. And also, I'd like to give a call out to the people who do research for me. And it's ever so kind of them, you know, including some Spread Lies, other knows the truth, who is who, sends me lots of information through. And also someone called Ron. And there's Katie, Ron, some Spread Lies, and loads of other people. So I'm sorry if I haven't mentioned you. Please don't take it personally. But, you know, I've got a memory like a goldfish sometimes. And tonight, as I say, with the hay fever and the heat, I'm sort of... So... Clue, please. Okay, you want a clue. Right. How am I going to do this? Right, this is a clue for the odd one out. Certainly. I'll give you a clue. Ka-ching! Ka-ching! It's called a till, but it's also known as another name. Little clue there. Sort of clue. Sideways clue. I think I'll give it a little bit too much. And it hangs on number 1 as well. It swings around number. I've always given the answer, haven't I? So I leave it. I'll let you stew a little bit more, okay? So who is the odd one out? Benjamin Disraeli, Boris Johnson, David Cameron, Jack Straw, or Lloyd George. I'm sorry I keep on about Lloyd George. I mean, I don't particularly like him, but never met him actually. I think he croaked it a long time before I was born. Right, so we'll leave that there for a while. Now, something else I've noticed recently. Well, I say recently, I noticed something when I was at school, and it's carried on to this day, and that is when I was at school, and you may have noticed it when you was at school, people lie to defend a bully. Now, when I was at school, there were lots of bullies around. I was bullied quite a bit. And there was a bully, said, "Oh, the smoke coming out the back of my bike because I was cycling so fast and there was flames leaking out." Children say lies, complete lie. And then in a sort of, shall we say, moderate sort of children were saying, "Oh, yeah, I saw flames leaking out the back of his bike." And people started lying to defend the bully. It's weird, isn't it? Now, recently I was talking to somebody and I said, I don't know anybody that's actually gone down with, oh, sorry, I got the wrong one here. The hyped up, you know what, I won't mention it because I don't want to get booted off of YouTube. And this person said, "No, I don't know anybody either. No." So I looked a bit puzzled. 3 days later, I met the same person, and they got into a sort of a conversation. And I said, "Yeah," I said, and I mentioned it again. "I don't know anybody that's gone down with this." And they said, 4 of my friends had went down with it, and 2 of my family members almost died of it. So how comes in 3 days that person didn't know anybody that had gone down with you know what, but 3 days later 2 members of their family had been down with it and 4 of their friends had had it? Well, it's obviously bullshit. And I'm noticing now a number of people are lying to kind of defend the government. It must be some sort of something the Tavistock people have worked out years ago. It's a sort of, it's weird. I wonder if anybody else has noticed this. Strange, isn't it? Anyway, let's go back to this. Who is the odd one out? Oh, hang on, I got the wrong one here, haven't I? Sorry, I had that one last week. Who is the odd one out? Benjamin Disraeli, Boris Johnson, David Cameron, Jack Straw, Lloyd George. Right, let's have a look at the questions. Sorry, the chat room questions. What am I talking about? Right, that's what the door. Cheers, yes, I gave a clue. Come on, quick. And also, Fabian Society, more like, yeah, you're right. That's what's making people lie to defend the government lies. Now, what we got? Yes, I'd agree with you there, Wallendall. Boris Johnson is odd, but I'll let you all out of your misery. Okay, right. Oh, excuse me. Sure is. Let's go back to the banners. Now, where are we? Oop-de-doop-de-doop. Keep putting the wrong one up. Right, who is the odd one out? Disraeli, Boris Johnson, David Cameron, Jack Straw, Lloyd George. The answer is, and I don't think anybody's got it, right, is Lloyd George. And the reason why Lloyd George is the odd one out, the other 4 have all got ancestry, shall we say, of the people that we're not allowed to criticise. I won't say the word because, again, YouTube and people like that are And if you mention, I call them landmines or verbal mine things. So I don't mention certain words. So remember, Benjamin Disraeli, his father converted over to Christianity when he was 10 years old. Boris Johnson, his ancestry is linked to the people we're not allowed to criticise. David Cameron, he's not that far away actually, is linked, and Jack Straw is linked, but Lloyd George was a Welsh boy, and there was, as far as I know, none in his ancestry. So he is the odd one out. And a second answer to this also, I was speaking to a person who was well up in the British Constitution. He knows the British Constitution. And they were saying, and I've heard this from two people. Now, I admit I haven't researched this myself, but apparently, sticking to the law, you are not officially allowed to be a prime minister unless your parents and grandparents are and were Christian. So, going by the British Constitution, all these four people, Benjamin Disraeli, Boris Johnson, David Cameron, and Jack Straw, should not, well, Jack Straw was the prime minister, but should not have actually been allowed into the House of Commons, because although Jack Straw is Christian, they say they are Christian, that all these said they were Christian because of their ancestry. And now I'm not being anti-do-flop and all this, that, and the other. That I'm just stating facts. So interesting, isn't it? So there we go. So hope I've explained that well. Let's have a look at the comments again. Unfortunately, Boris is not out. And there is something very odd going on with him at the moment. I mean, I do not believe that he had the hyped up, oh, it's pollen. Where is it? Oh, finger it. Yeah, he didn't have that. And you know, he keeps disappearing. Does he know something we don't know? Makes you wonder, doesn't it? Yeah. Right, now, go to my bullet points again. What have we got here? Yes, now when you look at the media, now it's just one option. They base everything on statistical science and not real science, because real science often says different to statistical science, as I've said many times before. You know, did you know that 70% of robins prefer worms to bird food? That's crap, because I've just made, well, I didn't just make that up. I made that up a couple of weeks ago. I don't know. That's a lie. I just don't know. But if I said that with all authority, people would just be repeating, oh, yes, 70% of robins prefer worms to bird food. It's crap. I don't know. But that is statistics. If somebody said, well, where did you get that statistic from? I'd say, I'll be very honest, I'd say it's bullshit, because I made it up. I did. But when you look at what's happening, we've got Bill Gates, who finances the World Health Organization, and also British Medical Association. And how comes that he has had no medical training whatsoever, but he is a sort of spokesman on vaccines? Funny that, isn't it? Nor is that Greta Thunberg or Fartberg or whatever you want to call her. She's being wheeled out again as some sort of expert. It's getting frightening, isn't it? It really is. You know, it's I don't know what's going on. But, you know, when you think about it, if this was a totally free society, you'd have that Dr. Buttar on, I'm sorry, I'm terrible with surnames. You'd have him on the BBC giving his point of view without being interrupted. And then you get the statistical scientists giving their point of view. And I can guarantee the statistical scientists, they wouldn't stand up. He would wipe the floor with them. And that's why they're excluded, because they know that a real scientists just would wipe the floor, you know. Anyway, let's have a look in chat again. Right. Oh yes. Big bad Boris's. Yeah. But you notice this, they're saying the same lie over and over and over again. It's always we've got to, was it self-isolate, social distancing, was anti-social distancing, isn't it? And it's the same bullshit over and over and over and over and over again. And was it the Goebbels said? And he was talking, actually, he was also misquoted. Goebbels was talking about the Western press. And he said they tell the same lie over and over and over again. And eventually people believe it. And it's true. They just keep telling the same lie. Emin, I don't think he had it either. Yeah, I don't think he did. Do you think that weird puppet sitting up in a hospital bed at the Olympic Games opening ceremony was supposed to be Boris? I think it was. Yeah, you got a point. I thought it was very satanic. I didn't watch the Olympics, but I saw a little bits of that opening ceremony, and it was incredibly satanic. You know, with that hill and all stuff like that. That's all to do with devil worshipping. And the NHS, when you come to think about it, but that, you know, by the way, that what you just said there is food for thought. It really is, because let's face it, prime ministers, or ministers rather, are they're actually chosen years ahead. So who knows? But what we got here, Emin? Yes, puppet. The UN pulling the strings. That's right. It's like, dee, 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 dee. Hello, we got 3043. Did you see the fear gobbling Greta on a CNN expert health panel last week regarding this bullshit play? Yeah, should we not saying it out, because, you know, out loud, I hope you understand. Yeah, well, I didn't see her, but I did hear about it, because I don't watch the telly. I haven't seen television for about 10 years. I don't think I could handle it. Right. Emin, Dr. Buttar discredited himself by believing Desiree Jennings' act. Dr. Kaufman is better. Good point there, Emin. Very good point. Anyone is better than the talking heads we get through, apart from Judy Mikowitz. Yeah, I've seen Judy Mikowitz. Apart from Judy Mikowitz, she's very good. Also, there's I think it's Robert Kennedy. I think he was the grandson of JFK. I might have got his first name wrong. He's very, very good. He's very interesting. But not a tall, sinister one. There was one with shaggy eyes like Boris, and a shaggy blonde. Oh yeah, you're talking about the Olympic opening ceremony. I've got to tell you about that. There was one of the events not far from where I live. It was where they what was it called? When they get in a canoe and go down an open sewer. Anyway, around that time they said it'll be crowded. There'll be crowds and crowds and crowds. Well, I think it was a business appointment I had to go to. I can't remember, but I had to pass that place, and it was supposed to be the time when there was crowds and crowds and crowds of people. Do you know how many people I saw? One local bloke walking along with his dog. It was empty, apart from security guards at the gate of this place, looking absolutely bored out of their skull. And every car went past. They were sort of hoping they was going to put their indicator on and turn into the place. There's nobody there. And I think that was with most of the Olympics. I think it was faked. I really do. There's no, it's just empty. Very, very odd. But it's all to do with the dark side. It's creepy. That Chris Whiffy, as I call him. Sorry, I mean, there's something creepy about that man, Westall. And you had Ferguson, didn't you? Having a bit of whoopee on the side, with a woman that has an open relationship. Huh? Huh? Oh yeah. Anyway, let's look at my bullet points. What we got here? There. Yeah. Have you noticed that in politics we're all ruled by what they call them now? Pressure groups. We've got pressure. Who elected them? I know I'm sounding a bit like Yuri Bezmenov there, but who elected these pressure groups? And I also, I know what I wanted to tell you. Have you noticed on YouTube, there's lots of pictures of the police jumping on people, innocent people, you know, some poor sods walking along, and the police sort of go and all jump on him and arrest him for, I don't know, walking the wrong way along the street or something to do with this current cockdown or whatever they call it. Now, I think it's the police mating season, and I think we ought to start a campaign to try and get some bromide into their tea, because there was one I saw the other day. Some poor sod with his daughter in Ireland, and there he was, and it must have been Southern Ireland, because the Gardaí in Southern Ireland seem to be about the worst. I think they're the most randy. And there's this bloke fishing, minding his own business. There's his daughter sitting next to him, and suddenly there's about sort of 10 of these Gardaí come from nowhere. Whoops. And they pounce on him and arrest him for some bylaw or something because of this lockdown. And they put him in handcuffs, and they're all sort of bundling on him. And again, I mean, they didn't get their willies out or anything like that, but I think that comes later when they tend to the station. But, you know, why do they keep bundling on people? You know, in Hyde Park, you saw several of them jumping on a bloke and pulling his trousers down. I mean, all right, they're randy, but, you know, couldn't they put some bromide in their tea to stop them being so randy, wouldn't it? You know, when you think about it. So watch out for randy policemen. What's this, what they do? I think police seem a bit tense at the moment. Yeah, I think they are. I mean, let's face it. With the police, you've got to sort of do what the higher person tells you to do. Whether you're not allowed to have an opinion, are you? You just got to do what someone tells you to do. And there are lots of people that want to be in that position. Now, I once saw a documentary years ago. It's really when my father was alive, about the Chelsea pensioners. And as an old boy, his wife waited on him hand and foot, and she sadly died. So he went in, became a Chelsea pensioner, and he went from a really nice, what looked a very nice house, you know, sort of semi-detached, nice garden, into a sort of like a barracks. And my dad went through the war. He was a conscript, and he couldn't stand the army or the forces. He said, "What on earth has he done that for?" And this chap said something that really puzzled us. He said, "Great," he said, "I don't have to think now, and I get everything done for me, but I don't have to think. Isn't that great?" Huh? And there are people like that don't want to think. And I think quite a few of the police are like that. You know, "I don't want to think. Go over and arrest that person." "Yeah, straight away, sir," you know. "Yes, sir, no, sir, 3 bags full," you know. Because I've got a conscience. I couldn't do a job like that. I couldn't stop, you know, a family going out for a day, going to have a nice day at the beach and saying, "Oh, sorry, I've got to go home," or "I'm not social distancing," and all this, that, and the other. I couldn't do it. It'd be my conscience, you know. And I suppose there's all different people around, but, you know, they should be out catching criminals, not as tax inspectors or tax collectors. That's the way I look on them. The ones that the traffic police, I just look on them as highwaymen, you know, highway robbery, that type of thing. But when you think about it, when you look at like insurances, now to me, there is legalized corruption. One is usury, yes. As I said last week, you know, Winston Churchill carried on usury, and the other 3 that I mentioned tried to stop it. And I'll just go back to that in the banners. Where are we? That was it. And it was Winston Churchill was the odd one out, because the first 3, the first 3 tried to stop usury, and Churchill carried it on. And that's what World War II was really about, because they had to stop Germany printing debt-free currency. But that's another story I won't go into this week. But when you look at insurances, for example, today I got a letter through the post. I bought a fridge last year. Not very exciting, is it? And the one I had previously, I inherited from my parents, and it was made in 1960. I still had the receipt, and it was still working. And the only reason I got rid of it is because the seals went round the door, and they got a bit old, and the door wouldn't lock properly. And I fitted a makeshift lock on there, but it didn't quite work. So it come to a point where I thought, well, I've got to get rid of it. And I bought another fridge. But anyway, I had this letter through the post today that said, your guarantee, your yearly guarantee, because it comes with a year's guarantee, is due to expire. Why not take out insurance for only £3 a month? And it has to be by direct debit. Now, I'm anti-insurance. I think that things like car insurance, I think the New Zealand, I think it's the same in Australia, idea is far better. And that is, it's not really a requirement, but if you get in a car, you're automatically insured, and there's less fraud because of that. So it's quite interesting. So if there's any Australian viewers, you might be able to put in the comment section your views on that. But I've heard this from Australians, but again, only a few Australians, so I might be wrong. But apparently it's less open, it's open less to corruption. They advise you to take out insurance, but it's like a sort of an overall insurance, so that if someone gets knocked over and they're badly injured, they're carted off to hospital, blah, and there's no sort of bun fight with the insurance people. But you can take out your own private insurance, apparently. But when you look at the insurances there are now, this thing, £3 a month, roughly. Okay, so that's £36 a year. The fridge cost about 100 quid. So if I took out insurance, I wouldn't have anything direct debit and forgot about it. After about, let's see, 36, that's 70. After about 3 to 4 years' time, if the fridge is still going, any time after that is a bonus. So why take out insurance? It's nonsense. So if that fridge lasts, say, for 6 years, 7 years, once I get over, say, 3 or 4 years, then I'm quitting. And you imagine if I paid out insurance over a period of about 7 or 8 years, I'd have actually paid for that fridge twice or 3 times over. Not worth it. And why do you think insurance companies have such huge buildings and are so plush? Why? Because they employ people, insurance investigators, to try and diddle you out of paying out insurance. I mean, house insurance. After a gale, the ridge tile came off my roof. So I thought, oh, I came on insurance. Oh no, it was an act of God or something. And I found out it was just cheaper to pay a bloke to go along, because I can't stay in heights, I'd do it myself otherwise, to fix it on. He fixed it back on. But insurance, I found, is just a license to print money. Now you look at national insurance. Now, excuse me, with national insurance, cradle to grave. Sounds good, doesn't it? Now, I'm all in favour of a health service that's free at point when you need it. Well, it isn't quite free. We've got national insurance. Now, I used to have a limited company, and you had loads of people. I used to employ loads of people. Me. Yes, I was the sole employee. It's a tax thing. No longer, but sorry, I'm no longer the employee of my own company because self-employed now. But that's what I used to do when I was contracted. Everybody did it. You started your own limited company and you were the employee of that company. And I had to pay employees, an employer's national insurance. So I had a double whammy on it. And when you think of that money, there's loads and loads and loads of money going into the coffers. Now, if you need to draw on that insurance, say $400 or something, you've only got one option. You have to go through the NHS pharmaceutical route. There's no other option. You can't go through the natural medicine route. I think you probably you'd need more than natural medicine if you fell under a bus, but you get what I'm getting at. So why is that the case? And you think now, pensioners, they throughout their working life have paid national insurance, remember, cradle to grave, and now they have to pay for their care in old age. So it's a con. They paid out national insurance that's not paying out. Absolute con. And you think during this lockdown, cancelled operations, all these things that have been cancelled and that, this proves that insurance is a complete another bloody, excuse my language, rip-off. It was a lie. You know, people paid into this national insurance all their working lives thinking, oh, I'm going to be taken care of when I'm old. And if I need to go into a nursing home, then it's going to be covered. No, it isn't. They'll actually rob you of your house to pay for your care. So it's a complete rip-off. And as I say, I look on governments as like the mafia. They're criminals. So really, when you look at these insurances, every insurance that I know of is a complete and utter confidence trick. I really do believe that. Yes, you do sort of need some sort of insurance, like I've got house insurance and car insurance, but I go for the cheapest because I know, I know people that's paid out enormous amounts that, to cover this, cover that. If you wet your underpants or whilst walking 2 steps out of your house, you'll be covered under the underpants wet underpants scheme. And of course, if you get bitten by a frog, then you'll be this, and you notice that all the small print with insurance companies, they can get out of paying you insurance easily. So my attitude is better to put money, well, I wouldn't say in the bank, but I won't go further into that, but shall we say save that money, put it under your bed or something, or buy gold sovereigns or anything like that, which gold holds its value, and don't waste it on insurance companies. And that's why, as I say, with my car, all right, you have to go fully comprehensive now, but I get the cheapest. And with my house, it's the cheapest insurance because it's just like burning money because they don't pay out. And the only reason I have house insurance is in case there's a big disaster like a fire or something like that. Anyway, let's have a look in chat. It's rather lively tonight, isn't it? Right, what we got here? Oh, right. Now, this is Hen Ogled. To think is to consider the consequences of one's actions. Very good. Yes. Yes, very good. Excellent. Spot on there. And we got Davey T. Didn't take a temperature test at work. They said it was voluntary. Could lose my job. Oh, blimey, that's a bit much. Well, I think if they took a temperature test for me tonight, what's the temperature in here? It's dropped down to, it's just below 30 degrees. 90. It's just below 90 degrees. It's boiling. So they'll say, oh, blimey, quick, put him into self-masturbation. Oh, sorry, self-isolation. Because remember, Boris Johnson tells us to self-masturbate. Sorry, self-isolate. He should know because he's most of his cabinet isolate. Slip of the tongue, Right. I'm with you on that one. This is Sooty 43. All insurance does is relinquish responsibility. Yep. Insurances make us less aware and astute. Spot on. Yeah. I absolutely detest insurance companies. I really do. You have to, you act like a pauper if you want to pay out. Oh, please, sir, can I have some money to pay for this? And many years ago, someone reversed into my car whilst it was sitting at a petrol station and smashed the front up. It wasn't very bad, it was drivable. And the insurance company said, oh, you must go with the repairer that we'd sell you to go to. Went to this repair, and it was, excuse my language, the crappiest job I've ever seen. And my front I've got I've still got the car actually. I've had it for years. It's a classic car. It's a classic Toyota, and it's, how many years is it now? Over 30 years old, the car. And it got the headline washers cockeyed. He didn't measure them. And I said, excuse me, that's not right. Oh, well, nobody noticed. I said, I noticed. And in the end, I just gave up and I tried to, sort of solve the problem myself. And it was just bodgy, absolute rubbish. And as goodwill, what they did, they washed my car over with a cloth that had grit in it. So I had all fine scratches all over my car. So, yes, I'd prefer to have gone to a repairer that I'd check out first and see what kind of work they do. So that's insurance companies for you. Right, Watland Daub, Davey T, sorry to hear it's sad state we are in. I'm also worried how my boss will be about me not wearing masks when I go back. Yeah, you got a point there, Watland Daub, because wearing a mask, you think about it, I think I covered this last week, you're breathing in your own waste. You're breathing in your own CO2, carbon, no, not monoxide, dioxide. I mean, we're breathing out waste. Why breathe it in? But what you could do, between you and I, I've got an industrial mask which I use when I spray things because I don't want to breathe in paint spray fumes. And I hate wearing it, it's all full of sweat. But if they make it compulsory to wear masks in certain areas, like certain shops, I just take the canister out the front and screw it up. So nobody knows there's no canister in it and I can breathe normally. So you walk in, people say, "Hey, yes, he's definitely a, hang on a minute. He's definitely a, or even a, they might think you're I wear that because I'd have this industrial spray mask on, but there's no canister in it, so I can breathe air through it. But there's another thing, actually, I've seen on the internet, if they make it compulsory in certain shops, because when the second wave hits, because there will be a second wave, I'm pretty sure of it. That's all part of the agenda, isn't it? And my estimate is I think this is, numerology-wise, this current lockdown seems to be working on 369 because it works on 369, 248, 147, I think it is, and this is a 369. So my guess is that the second wave will hit on the 3rd of September, 6th, 9th, or 15th. So stay tuned for that jolly little time, because Bill Gates has got to make his to squirt formaldehyde and other shit in your system. And remember, United Nations Agenda 2030, they've only got they've only got 10 years to wipe out 55 million people in this country, which is part of the plan. How nice, eh? Yes, it's the genocide agenda. If you don't believe me, look it up for yourself. No conspiracy, total fact. Look up United Nations Agenda 2030. That's it. I'm sure I've preached it to the converted because everybody in the chat room knows about this already. Right. Now, what we've got here, 1343. The police can take away your vehicle if on a public road without insurance, even if the car or motorbike isn't being driven. Yeah, that's right. A clear case of the police working for private companies. Yeah, they often back up bailiffs as well. You know, it's horrendous. I actually, there's a bloke. Where was it now? Somewhere up, I think it was up in Cambridgeshire. This was about a couple of years ago. I was driving along, and there was this car park, and it was a pub where the car park was at the front, and the main, let's say main road, it was a sort of a B road, I suppose, went past the front of this pub, and there was a bloke, I don't know if it was anything to do with a pub, selling cars, and they had about 3 cars on the front, you know, with all the signs up, and each one was clamped with a great big sticker on it, and it was from the DVLC saying these cars, I could only glance as I drove past, these cars are not taxed, which is but it's Again, road tax is a con, total con. The whole thing, as I say, is a complete con. Anyway, I'm starting to wilt here. Anyone for a dirty joke? Yeah? This is a cracker. Now, remember, please turn, if there's children present, out of the room, shit. Send them out of the room for a while, you know, make an excuse. Put your fingers in the ears of your pet dog, because they might not want to hear it either. Right, now for a dirty joke. Old farmer boy, bit of a simpleton, you know, a bit of a village idiot, you know what I mean? You see, he's walking around going, so the other farm workers are saying, what's wrong with you, eh, sonny? Oh, I got a bloody stiffy on here, he says. I don't know what to do, he says. God, blimey, I'm getting really worked up here. So he says, so the farm labourers say, what you want to do, boy? He says, go into the barn, he says, drop your old trousers, get 2 handfuls of cow dung, and then clamp it each side of it. He said, that's the thing to do. He said, well, all right, I'll do that. Or, yeah. So he goes into the old barn, you see, and he drops his trousers, and he gets his handfuls, gets his cow dung, and he's just about, and suddenly the dairymaid walks in. And she says, what are you doing? So he explains. He says, no, you don't want to do that. You want to stick it up here. So he did, both handfuls. That's not a very good one, is it? I'll tell you another one. If you're of a certain age and remember Morecambe and Wise, they always used to end their show with a joke which they never, ever hit the punchline with. And they always said, there's 2 old men sitting in jet chairs. On one side to the other one, and then they say, oh, I can't tell that joke. Let it go off. Well, I know the end of that joke because of my uncles, you see. So, shall I let you wait till next week? No. Right, excuse my language, it's a crap ending. And you think it's going to be a filthy joke, and it isn't. And Morecambe and Wise used to say, as I said, 2 old men sitting in jet chairs, one says to the other one, nice out, isn't it? And all it is, yeah, it's so nice, I think I'll get my one out as well. That's it. It's a crap one, isn't it? Anyway, Scooby ending a bit quick tonight. I'm melting here. The temperature is going up in this room. Thank you very much for joining me this evening. And please join me next week, same time, same place. So it's 8 o'clock. And please remember to subscribe and share. Tell others. We can sort of boost up the audience a little bit more. As I say, thank you to everybody that's joined me in the chat room tonight. It's very, very kind. And I'm sorry if I haven't read out all your comments. And remember, remain an individual. And above all, have a laugh. Thank you very much. And look forward to seeing you next week. And good night.